have heard in the media against the proposed monument trends, marine national monuments, all run counter to the intent of the writers of our beloved Constitution. You have heard that the current administration does not support the preservation of these islands. They support sustainable use, which conflicts with the constitutional purpose to preserve these islands. You have heard that if a monument were declared, we would have to ask permission to go there. Our original intent in protecting those islands was for everyone to ask for permission. That is the best way to protect and preserve their unique biological characteristics. You have heard that there is no need to protect these islands because they are so beautiful, so lush. That is exactly why we intended to protect those islands in the first place. These islands are undisturbed and they are unique, and they can serve as a source of population of wildlife to be used for restocking other islands where certain species such as fruit bats and coconut crabs have been depleted. They are also the vast vistas of what the Marianas were like before the Spanish arrived. Finally, you have heard that this is nothing more than another federal takeover. While our intent was to protect all the resources of the far north, we do not have jurisdiction or control over any of our surrounding waters. The federal government has jurisdiction from the mean high water mark out to 200 nautical miles. The National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration, which is NOAA, is the federal agency focused on the condition of the oceans, and NOAA Sanctuaries is the appropriate government agency for preservation of our marine resources, not NOAA Fisheries. I have attached a copy of the report of the convention by the Committee on Personal Rights and Natural Resources, Committee Recommendation number 29, for your reference. It will help you understand our Constitution better. In closing, I urge you to support the proposed Mariana Trench Marine National Monument. It will fulfill the original intent of our Constitution and benefit generations of Chamorros and Carolinians to come. And then I said, for your consideration.
So obviously, former Congressman Karl Reyes, by the gist of that letter, essentially tells us that it's being protected locally and by the Constitution, and therefore this is just an extension of making sure that the resources are made available and that the capacity is built so to ensure that the sustainability and the biodiversity is protected.
Yes, and of course, the Constitution, it was voted by the people back in 1985 and it became effective in 1986.
I see. Okay.
That's the second con-con.
All right. So, no, basically, you are with the Friends of the Monument. There's no question about your support of the proposal. Maybe can one of you enlighten us as to where we are at now with respect to the proposal? It has been touted in the media, public meetings, Rhoda, Tinian, and Saipan. I think there were one or two prior appearance on John Gonzales Live earlier this year. Where are we now with that? Is it a done deal, or there's still some room for collaboration and consultation?
Yeah. You know, John, we have just begun. But let me, before I answer that question, let me tell you that every guest that you had tonight are passionate about this island. We do not come here with the intent to ruin our islands. We just want to obey and abide by what is constitutionally mentioned earlier and protected. We did not come here to try to go contrary to any officials. Our role is basically to educate the public and the importance of this marine monument. It is for education purpose. It is for the protection of the environment. You've heard Uncle Dave spoke and Karl talked about the waters and it is federally protected and federally owned. By having a marine monument there, we, the people of the Commonwealth, will co-manage it. We do not own it now, but having a marine there, we will co-manage it, John. So like I said, we are passionate about this island. We want to make sure that everything is done rightfully. But you cannot make a right decision if you're not informed. Now, going back to your question, we have just begun. Many, we have taken the time to go out and speak to the public. We've invited people to come to our office and talk to Angelo and Laurie. We are not trying to do this thing and try to pass this thing on the last hour. We've invited many people, our offices, we've advertised it in the newspaper to please come into our offices and see what we offer and see what the facts are. My role when I was brought in was basically, because I was a former congressman, was to bring important information, pertinent information that would assist the legislature in making the right decision. I am sort of shocked that the legislature continued to pass resolution when the assessment team is still not here or just begun to come. So your question is, and the answer to your question is, we have just begun. And because we have just begun, I think it's prudent for our people to please continue to come to our place and let's talk about it. Public information, public town hall meetings are important. The fact that we have an office and it's open to the public, for the public, and we welcome everybody to come. We've taken time to advertise in our schedule in the newspaper. Angelo and Laurie are constantly, they're manning that office. We have so much information. And because Felix Mendiola has invited, wrote a letter to the president regarding the assessment team, this is important, John. Please, we want to make sure that the audience out there and the public knows and the legislature knows that we have just begun. So, once again, this dialogue would not happen if we continue to pass resolution. The Manamkus, the elders, all of our people must come and let's unite and let's make this thing possible. But we need to listen, and they need to listen to us too.
Okay. Let me go ahead, Congressman Reyes.
So, John, I think it's very important for our local people to listen to any of the publications that are being put out by the Friends of the Monument, or also for them, the local community, to attend any presentations or village meetings that are called, because it is from this type of meetings that one can learn that the preservations up there is going to be a huge area, but when we preserve all those fish out there that are available of different species up there, on the long run, these fish will probably migrate closer to Saipan, where it is outside of the restricted area, and then we can catch them out here closer to the island here. But on the preserved areas where the monument is going to be, and that's where the preservation of the fish, you have to remember that all these fish are also migrating closer, and if it's too much fish up there already, they might migrate closer to the islands out here, and there we can have a lot of fish for our own consumption as well.
Okay, so by I guess what I'm getting out of the proposal to designate it means that resources will be mobilized, equipment will be brought over, capacity will be built, local capacity will be built, and that there's going to be some physical presence to patrol and monitor and enforce. Is that in fact going to be the case, or the issue as proposed?
John, at this time, we only have one U.S. Coast Guard cutter that patrols the entire Micronesian islands. So if our people is making the argument that the islands up there are pristine, clean, and protected, is it really protected? Because 3 weeks ago, Coast Guard caught a Taiwanese ship up there, fishing in our waters. And if there's only one Coast Guard patrolling the entire Micronesian islands, and you catch one, you're lucky. So we're lucky that we caught this one guy. But how many fishermen have already entered our waters? And we need to go out there. And John, it's not just coming over here and fishing our waters. Look at our lagoon. Chai Lang and Uncle Krau and Uncle Dave are not the only ones that saw an abundance of fish and crabs in our lagoon at one time.